back to another video. Thank you for clicking this video and the link and giving it a watch. That means everything to me. Today's video is going to be 5 different types of people you will pretty much definitely meet on a hospital ward. Sorry, my dog wants to play. And basically these are 5 types of people that have been on the ward every time I've been on the ward. Every single time. Maybe in the minority, but there's always been at least one of this type of people, so we'll just see how it goes. Let's go through it. So I've written a lot of notes. Actually, I wrote 6 pages, which is kind of mental considering there's only 5 things I'm talking about. I'm going to blame the fact that my writing's messy and big. Like, that just makes me feel a bit better. So I'm going to bring my notes. I hope you don't mind. And we'll just see how it goes. Yeah, let's go through it. So, number 1 is, I guess this is the one that everyone's expecting. And that is the aggressive, angry patient that kicks off a lot, will be loud and just a nuisance. These people are usually a small minority of people in the ward. There's maybe 1 or 2 usually at one point. But the thing is, they can cause a lot of chaos, even if it is just 1 or 2 people at that point. And sometimes, obviously, if they're kicking off or they're yelling and they're making a bit of a scene, the staff have to go and deal with that. And so that takes the staff away from other patients who maybe needed leave, who needed appointments being taken to things like that. Even meds, if you've got the nurse in charge who's doing meds and they're in with someone, you're screwed. If you need PRN, you need anything like that, you've got to wait until they're out. And that can be hours sometimes. So these people can cause chaos, and that usually gets them resented by people on the ward. Most definitely. And so, yeah, they're the minority, but they usually have the biggest impact, definitely. And these people sometimes are maybe just struggling with paranoia, and they feel like the whole ward's talking about them, everyone's in on something, no one likes them, they're being backstabbed about, and things like that. And that can lead to kind of them feeling a bit hostile, maybe a little aggressive towards other people, and so that can be a cause. Another thing is actually sometimes mania. I've noticed a lot of patients that are like that are the patients that are maybe quite manic but also angry with it. And this, you know, mania is like an excess of energy, you get creative ideas, your brain is going so fast you can't really keep up, but you can keep up because your brain is just speeding, it's just going and going and going. You can't really sleep, you can't really eat, you don't even think to eat or sleep sometimes. I've been fortunate and never had full-blown mania. I have had hypermania, and I've actually enjoyed it, as awful as that sounds. It was a lot nicer to be up than to have the depression that I was used to. The only issue is when the high comes down, you crash. It's not just like a gentle, like, it's just like bang, bang. And so I think a lot of manic patients, even if they're, bipolar patients, even if they're not manic, the crash that they've just experienced in the depression can also cause anger and kind of distress in them. And that can lead to them being aggressive and angry. I think people would expect me to say it's the schizophrenic patients that are like this. And I guess, yeah, there's that tendency. I guess the paranoia is, you know, paranoia is schizophrenia, but paranoia is kind of present in a lot of different illnesses and can be present in a lot of illnesses. Mania, schizoaffective disorder, psychosis, there's a lot of stuff. Even things like BPD can kind of cause mania in people, paranoia in people. Everyone reacts differently, I guess. That's the thing about mental health. You've got the things that are the same in most people, but there's always people that are slightly different. And everyone, you could have 1 million people go through the same situation, and I don't think a single one of them would react exactly the same way as each other. I kind of feel like everyone reacts to even the same thing differently. And we all have different ways of looking at the world and understanding the world and the way that we think about ourselves. And that can lead to a lot of differences. So really what I want to say is about these patients, sometimes they're the nicest people on the ward. They're just also the person who is struggling the most sometimes. Especially with things like paranoia or anger or mania or depression. You know, that can make people a bit snappy and angry and hostile sometimes. And it's not a personal thing. And that's something I wanted to say in this video is don't take things personally on something like a ward, because people are very unwell. They're not on that ward because they're 100% in their right mind, they're happy, they're fine. If anything, it's the opposite. They're in a crisis. That's why they're on the ward. And so if someone is rude to you, or is snappy with you, or is maybe a little bit aggressive, just don't take it personally. They usually don't mean anything by it about you, and it is just the way that they're feeling at that point. So, yeah. Let's see. I think that's everything about that patient. So number 2 is the loud patient. And this is self-explanatory. These are the patients that will play music 24/7 on full blast. They always want to sing, or should I say screech along. There's certain people I'm thinking of right now, and I hope they don't see this video because they'll know I'm thinking of them. There was a lovely lady that I got to know, and I really liked her when we got to know each other, but she would play Barry Manilow 24/7 every day a week. It was driving me insane. I was already there because I wasn't good, and I'm thinking I'm going to lose it because of Barry Manilow. And it became a running joke in the end how much I hated it and him in the end, because I just heard his voice constantly for weeks on end. And it became funny in the end, and then I'd hear it and I'd laugh instead of being angry. But yeah, listening to someone else's music like all the time, especially when you're trying to sleep or you just got up in the morning, you know, you're trying to come round a bit, you're trying to make yourself feel a bit better that day, and then you've got someone else's music blaring away, it gets to you. And it's not just music, it can be them banging around, wearing high heels and banging down the floors as they walk. It could be people that will just talk loudly or yell a lot or sing a lot, and that can actually cause a surprising amount of distress in people on the ward. And I think it's because it's out of your control, and also I know a lot of people are sensitive with noise when they're in a crisis. It can cause more anxiety, it can cause triggers. So if you've got a loud patient who's going around and making a lot of noise, it can actually upset quite a lot of people, so it's something to be considerate of if you're on the ward. If I play music, I either put them on earphones on the ward, or I try and just keep it low, and then I check outside that you can't hear it outside. I don't want to be one of them patients. They're always hated as well, so it's not good to be one of those patients, definitely not. So number 3, and these are what I call the lounge ladies, or the lounge lads if you want to make it for men. These are the women or the people that will just spend all day in the TV lounge. They just watch TV, or they read newspapers, magazines, books. They just sit in that room all day long, and that is their room. They may spend time in their own room if like there's someone watching TV and there's something they don't want to watch, but a lot of the time these people will take over the telly, and that's not really a bad thing. It's something that helps them, so why not? And these people will have regular shows that they watch, and they'll know like the day's timetable from memory. It's insane. It's amazing what you can learn when you've got no time. You've got so much time to do anything you want, and you can't really do anything you want, but you know what I mean. You got so much time on your hands, you got to learn something. Some people pick the timetable. But yeah, no, so these people are usually actually quite quiet, they're quite considerate, they're kind, and not everyone obviously, because every type of person is different. But yeah, these people will usually just keep to themselves. They'll just sit in there to avoid other patients a lot of the time, to avoid the chaos. And they'll just sit there and chill and just watch whatever they want all day. They may, like I say, read a newspaper, read a book, a magazine, play on their phone. Usually, for some reason, signal's quite bad in hospitals, even like on a mental health unit away from like x-ray units and things like that. And so it's sometimes a good thing to have other things to distract yourself if you know that the internet isn't going to work that well. Because I live on YouTube, so when I'm on the ward, I take a little dongle with me, like a Wi-Fi dongle, because otherwise I'd be buggered. Like, I need to be able to keep myself busy and distracted. And for some people it's TV, for me it's YouTube. We all have a different thing. But these people are usually very quiet and quite nice people. They'll be considerate, they'll be nice to you, they'll be friendly. They may seem quite shy and reserved, hide a titch. But you get to know them, and once you make the effort with them, they'll be your best friend on the ward. It's insane. I've met so many people that you think can maybe seem almost aloof in a way because they're that shy. It almost seems like they think they're better than other people. And I have a close friend who said that people would get that impression of her when she was at school. She was so shy that people thought she was quite cold and distant. And so sometimes you've got to kind of think about why people are coming across how they are and what's making them come across that way. Because, like I say, on a ward, everyone's in a crisis of some form, so they're not always going to be on their best form, so just don't take it personally. If anyone, like I say, is rude or angry at you, just try and be chill, try and calm them down, or just walk away and leave it to the staff, like, whatever. But I think the lounge ladies, or the lounge lads, I think a thing for them is it's the comfort of the TV, like, it's something that they would do at home. And so if they can watch a show that they loved when they were at home, they can watch a show that they love in hospital. And that is like a sense of normality and a sense of routine that's normally in your life that is then disturbed by going on a ward. So I think that can be quite good. And they could, I think yeah, hospitals can be very isolated, or you feel isolated, especially if you're in a hospital and a ward away from home. For me, I don't really go to the hospital in Harrogate anymore. I always end up north somewhere. I refuse to go to Cedar because it's a shithole. And I do not believe the staff there are doing what they should be. So I always try and refuse to go there, and thankfully they seem to listen to me. I don't know if Cedar won't take me back. That'd be kind of good if they wouldn't. Let's hope. Let's hope. Come on, I can pray. Anyway, so yeah, I think finding things in hospital that give you that sense of normality and a little bit of routine that you have at home can be very helpful. And I think it can just give you a sense of comfort. And that's what you need sometimes in the place like that. There's not really anything warm or comfortable or cosy about the place. The beds are hard, the sheets make you sweat. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing really comfortable about a ward. And so if you can find something that makes you feel a bit more like you're at home or you're more at ease, it definitely will help. So, number 4. This is technically 2 types of people, but I've put them together and you'll kind of see why, I hope. And that is the givers and the takers. Now, the names are pretty self-explanatory. I think you know what I'm on about. But basically, the takers can sometimes be the more aggressive patients that are on the ward, like that we talked about earlier, the more angry or hostile patients. But also you'll get people that are just quite manipulative. And they might tell you a sob story to try and get something from you, like, oh, they stopped my benefits, I've no money, I need to get some food to eat, can you give me some money please, or I need to make a phone call, can I get some change please? And although you might feel sorry for that person, a lot of the time they're putting it on. And even if that situation is genuine, they don't really need what you're giving them. I don't know how to describe it. I've known a lot of people in the ward be very manipulative about trying to get things from people, and they will say anything to get it. It doesn't matter what. They'll just lie out the teeth. And that's something I really hated about some people. But yeah, the takers, the thing with these kind of people is, if you say yes to something once, if they say, oh, can I borrow a cig, and you say yes, they're going to always come back to you. Because you said yes once, you might say it again. And so you've got to be careful about who you share with in hospital. And I think I've touched on this in another video. I think it was the things you should do and never do on a ward. And yeah, you've got to be careful who you do lend things to, who you share things to with, who you show what you've got to. Because some people, if they see you've got a nice phone and then you go for a shower, they might think, right, I'm off to get that phone. So you have got to be careful about what you show to other patients that you've got, if you've got something worth quite a lot of money or something like that. It's sad to say, but things do get nicked on wards, sometimes by the staff, which is horrendous. But yeah, so just be careful in that regard. But basically, if these people will kind of say to you, oh, I need money, I need to use a phone, I need some food, I need a drink, I want to make a phone call to a friend or my family, I haven't talked to them in ages, can I please use your phone to ring my friend? And a lot of the time, these people are lying to you about what they want it for. So if someone borrows your phone, and this is something I'm going to touch on later, but this is something I wanted to make a big thing about in this video, although it's such a daft point, is do not give your phone out on the ward. If you want to show something to someone and hand it over, that's different. Just be careful, they might not react well, it depends. Some people can just be like, haha, bang, smash it. Be careful. But like, basically, if someone says, can I make a phone call, can I text someone on your phone, just be very careful. Some patients will be trying to get you in trouble. Some patients will be calling people they're not allowed to be in contact with on the ward. They may be trying to arrange a drug deal, getting something snuck into the ward. You've got to be very careful, because if the ward finds out that it was your phone that was used to make that arrangement, you could get in shit, which is kind of unfair. And also, it just puts you in a bad position, especially if the staff say, well, who did you make that phone call? Whose phone did you have? And they say your name. That's not good for you. And another issue is some people, when they're psychotic or like manic, will believe they're in a lawsuit against the hospital. This is a surprisingly common thing. And so they might try and ring the police and be like, hey, I'm being held hostage on a ward, you need to come get me. I've known a lot of patients do that, and they've actually got like public nuisance orders, I think it was, because they were calling so much the emergency services, and they were like, you're not a hostage, you're sectioned. There's a difference. But yeah, again, if that's on your phone, that's under your name, that's under your address, like, you don't want that. So just be very careful about that. Another thing you might be asked for is things like cigarettes and lighters. Now, handing out cigarettes, if you've got enough backy or whatever, that's cool. Just be careful, again, who you give it to, in case they will keep coming to you for more and more and more. So, but another thing is lighters. Be very careful with lighters. So every hospital in the UK is, or like England at least, is now non-smoking across the entire site. So there's no smoking rooms, there's no smoking courtyards. They have courtyards and gardens still, you're just not allowed to smoke in them. So this causes a lot of problems for people when they first go on the ward. They're told they can't smoke and they panic. Now you'll be offered patches or gum or like other replacements, but come on, if you're sectioned, you're depressed, you're suicidal, you don't want to stop smoking. So the last time you want to stop smoking, you definitely want to carry on smoking at that point. I think that's how I felt. And so there are ways around. There's ways around it. You can sneak it. There's ways. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to get anyone in trouble or me in trouble. But yeah, lighters are another thing, and there's two reasons that you shouldn't give a lighter out, really, and they're very different reasons. Number one is, if that person gets caught smoking by staff, the staff will then take their smokes off them and the lighter and say, oh, whose lighter is that? If they say your name, again, you're in trouble. And you've lost your lighter, so if that was your only lighter, you're screwed now, you can't smoke. They've lost your lighter, so they haven't got a lighter, they can't smoke. So don't give out anything you're not willing to lose, is probably the best advice I can give in that kind of scenario. But the second reason is a lot more serious and kind of upsetting, and it's that some people may try and self-harm with it. I've known this happen at least 3 times. And twice the person burnt themselves, and the third time a guy actually tried to set fire to himself. And the person that had given him this lighter was so devastated, just absolutely traumatised, because they felt it was their fault and that they'd helped him hurt himself. And obviously they got in trouble with the staff because it was a serious thing and they shouldn't have been handing lighters out. The poor guy was hurt. I mean, he didn't die, he had burns, it was an issue, he was in hospital a very long time. I haven't actually heard anything about him recently, so I hope he's still around. But it just shows that, yeah, you've got to be careful what you hand out, because you don't know what someone's purpose is for what you're giving them. That's kind of the key, I guess. And things like lighters, you know, big thing, but like razors, the obvious things as well, razors, things like that. Anything sharp, anything that could be cut to be made sharp. You don't want to be responsible, or feel at least responsible, for helping someone cut or helping someone try and kill themselves, because that'll mess you up. You're already in a bad state if you're on a ward. You don't want the guilt of that put onto you. So yeah, just be careful regarding that. Let me see. So we've talked about the takers. Let's talk about the givers. Let's talk about the nice people. And these are the, sometimes actually the lounge ladies, which is funny. They two people, kind of two things in one here. They're usually the people that you want to turn to if you need something along the lines of toiletries. If you was admitted and you didn't bring a bag with you because it was like an emergency situation, you were rushed there. Like things like knickers, socks, pyjamas. I've borrowed pyjamas off people in slippers. Hairbrushes, things like that. Anything that you might need that's small, but that you can kind of maybe give them a couple of quid for it to say thank you or something like that. And these people will usually be the quiet types. Now, they're the people that won't cause trouble, they won't make a big scene, they're not the loud patients usually, they're not usually the aggressive patients. They will, as I say, be the lounge ladies or the lounge lads, like, a lot of the time anyway. And I think these people are very, very generous, but that sometimes gets taken advantage of, and that's another issue, is if you give someone something, they may then just try and take more and more and more. And you do get this with the takers. You say yes once and they're hounding you constantly. So a couple of little tips that I've got, like advice, is say someone asks you for a cigarette and you only have a few left, or you don't want to give them one. You say something along the lines of, well, this is what I would say, something like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have enough right now, but if I get some more soon, I'll give you a shout, yeah? Is that alright? And usually everyone will go, yeah, that's fine, thank you, and walk off. I've never actually had someone be like, no, it's not alright, you've got to give me one. So it works quite well. And it's a way of saying no while being respectful, while being polite, and kind of keeping the tone light of it. So yeah, that's a little thing. And just be careful who you say yes to when they ask you for things. It's very nice to be the giver, but you also don't want to get taken advantage of. You don't want to be seen as the easy mark or the easy target. So yeah, just be aware of that. Right, let's see. Number 5. Okay, number 5 is the last one in this video. And this is the compulsive liars and the manically deluded, which doesn't sound very nice. I couldn't think how to phrase it. I guess I mean more like psychotic. Mania does cause psychosis in some people, so I guess that's why I said that. But anyway, these are the people who will try and call the police, like I talked about earlier. They think they're having a lawsuit. And that's not the compulsive liars the majority of the time. That's the people that are either psychotic or they're manic or something along those lines that's causing an untruth to be believed in their head. And they will call the police, as I say, and be like, I've been taken hostage, or you need to come save me. But it's also things along the lines of that they are related to royalty, that they work for MI6, MI5, that they're a spy, that they're a plant on the ward, and that they're investigating the ward, and that they're only on there to make notes and kind of report back, and that the sectioning was all part of the plan. Things like that. You can hear some amazing things on the ward from people. I knew someone who said the Queen was going to get the SAS to break her out, and I was like, come on, this has got to happen, please. That would have been amazing. I mean, we all knew it wasn't going to happen, but it would have been pretty cool if the SAS had swooped in and just whisked her out. I think that would have given the staff something to think about the psychotic patients. Maybe they're not as psychotic as they think. But yeah, no. So sometimes these people are psychotic, or they have a psychotic element to their illness. Other times they're just a liar. And they think that if they lie, they're going to get what they want, whether it's status or something material, attention or pity. Or even respect. A lot of people will lie about things to try and gain respect from people instead of trying to gain pity on a ward. It kind of goes both ways. Let's see. Yeah, so these people are usually pretty harmless. They're just unwell. They're not going to cause any issues a lot of the time. They're just confused. They don't know what is the reality around them. And that's something I really relate to. I can't tell what's real and what isn't anymore. Like, at all. And I'm not going to go into that because that could be like a half-an-hour tirade of like, what the hell is this? So, but yeah, they're confused. A lot of the time they don't mean any harm. They're not trying to be a liar. They're not trying to trick anyone. They're just saying what they believe. But you do also have the compulsive liars, the people that will try and manipulate you, the people that will try and lie about anything to get what they want. And it's sometimes hard to tell the difference, but usually you can tell if someone's saying something that is so outrageous it wouldn't be believed anywhere. They're usually psychotic. If someone's saying something that could be almost half believable, they're usually lying because they don't want to say something that's so out there it's obvious it's fake. But they want to say something maybe that's almost true and might sound like it's true. So that's just something to think about. And I think that is the video. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it interesting or informative. I'd love you to leave a comment, a like, a subscribe. That all means the world to me. I'd love to chat with you in the comments if you just want to say hi. I do have some custom made hoodies that I will be showing in my next video. I've got a black one and a maroon one. I think I was wearing the black one last time I did a video. Maybe the maroon one, I don't remember. But yeah, I'll show you, and if you guys ever want one, that'd be like really cool. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll try and hook you up with one. It's all about spreading the word of mental health awareness and just getting it out there, getting people to learn about this stuff and to have a better understanding and knowledge of this. Yeah, that's it. Thanks guys. Stay cool, stay safe. Bye.